that feels better. Y'all see where I'm at. New setup type shit. It's good, y'all. I'm back. Listen, we're at a new motherfucking setup, man. It's been a long couple of days, bro. I had to do a lot of unpacking. So much unpacking. But we're finally in this bitch, and I can finally do this. It feels really good. It does feel good to be here. Well, you know I'm gonna react. Y'all already know this is what happened. 7 levels of Psychopaths. Obviously, I have to react to this because I feel like one right now, bro. The amount of shit I've gone through, bro. Yeah, I feel like one right now. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Let's do this.
The 7 levels of Psychopaths explained.
Level 1. The inaccurate.
These characters are here not because they aren't dangerous or entertaining or badly written, but because they're fundamentally wrong about what psychopathy actually is. Norman Bates in Psycho and Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs are both entertaining and frightening while being extremely well written. But using the paper published by Dr. Samuel Leicester, we can
Damn, we're going that far? Like, you know what?
confirm that these beloved characters are in fact inaccurate portrayals of psychopathy. Leicester and his team said that these characters don't quite fit the mold because in the case of Norman Bates, he is more psychotic rather than psychopathic, big distinction between the two. As for Hannibal Lecter, he is obscenely unrealistic and a caricature of a psychopath. This is because Hannibal accumulates many personal characteristics that are not generally found in everyday clinical practice. He's described as having exaggerated levels of intelligence, sophisticated manners and cunningness, sometimes up to superhuman levels. Real psychopaths aren't omniscient geniuses who can diagnose people by their perfume.
So pretty much Hannibal Lecter is the perfect So Hannibal Lecter is the perfect specimen. He's the perfect psychopath. And that's exactly why they're like, oh fuck no, he's not dead. So there's supposed to be something biologically wrong with them in some type of way. Okay.
Being elite painters and musicians at the same time.
And not because
Hannibal is an elite psychopath, Hollywood invention that is too perfect and too theatrical. To wrap this level up, in early Hollywood, filmmakers had no real understanding of psychopathy as a clinical condition. They conflated it with generic villainy, insanity, or just being really evil, such as Tommy Udo in Kiss of Death and Cody Jarrett in White Heat. These portrayals played into public misunderstanding that genre villains like
That slow ass fight, man. Come look at this shit. Watch them. Watch.
These portrayals played into public
You telling me you couldn't stop him? You right there. You couldn't stop him doing it?
misunderstanding that genre villains like gangsters, mad scientists, and slashers typified psychopathy. Clinical psychopathy is marked by a persistent lack of empathy, shallow emotions, impulsivity, and often a charming yet manipulative, calculating, and cold-hearted demeanor. Now, let's get into real portrayals of psychopaths, starting with
Level 2. The low functioning.
From a neurological standpoint, low-functioning psychopaths exhibit high testosterone combined with low serotonin levels, which creates impulsive and highly negative reactions. They struggle with emotional regulation, leading to explosive outbursts of anger, sudden bouts of depression, or rapid mood swings. Unlike their high-functioning counterparts, who plan carefully and maintain a facade, these individuals are marked by emotional volatility and impulsive, reactionary behavior. They are not smart enough to hide what
Anybody want to tell me what the fuck I'm looking at right now? Does anybody want to know tell me what I'm looking at? Somebody has to know now. By the way, the reason why, bro, I don't know what's been happening, but I've been having this, I've been having this weird thing where for some odd reason my keyboard doesn't want to stay plugged in. I don't know what I'm doing, but anyway, that has nothing to do with the video. Still someone tell me what I'm looking at.
What they are. Annie Wilkes from Misery is a prime example exhibiting features ranging from emotional lability to delusional attachment to a fictional character.
That's old girl. Okay.
Another example is Commodus from Gladiator. He is catastrophically low functioning, petty, reactive, and driven entirely by a wounded ego.
Yes.
He can't manage his own emotional responses under pressure, such as when he murdered his own father in a fit of rage after learning he wouldn't inherit the throne, driven purely by jealousy and a pathological need for approval. Other low-functioning psychopaths would be Joseph from Creep, Franco Begbie from Trainspotting, and Tommy DeVito from Goodfellas. Remember the
I mean, Goodfellas. Can we be honest though? Goodfellas is a great fucking movie, so I don't think it's a problem.
distinction. Great character, bad clinical psychopath. Tommy DeVito is a great character, but he is a low-functioning psychopath. He exhibits extreme emotional dysregulation as shown when he murders Spider over a minor insult, demonstrating inability to modulate effective responses. These are high factor 2 traits such as impulsivity and aggression. As for Franco Begbie, he demonstrates poor behavioral controls and inability to maintain even criminal relationships due to unpredictable violent tendencies. Joseph is another that fits the mold of this level as portrayed through his attempts at charm but failing. He also displays possible paraphilic disorders and cannot maintain convincing false self despite trying. Level 2 characters have the absence of empathy, the lack of remorse, the predatory instinct but none of the intelligence, patience or self-control that makes a psychopath genuinely dangerous. But if we up the levels of psychopathy, we get
Level 3, the macho.
According to the Hervé classification system, macho psychopaths have the second highest overall PCLR score among all subtypes, meaning they're extremely dangerous. But here's what makes them distinct. They score low on the interpersonal factor, which is why they fall into level 3 as they have minimal charm and no smooth talking abilities. Unlike level 2's chaotic, uncontrolled violence, macho psychopaths use brutality systematically, such as
Was that Leonardo DiCaprio or am I tripping? Am I tripping or was that Leonardo DiCaprio in a dress?
orchestrating robberies, assaults, and territorial violence. Characters such as Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York, Colonel Nathan Jessup from A Few Good Men, and Nicky Santoro from Casino are
You see how it's the same guy? They got him playing all types of psychopaths, by the way. This is all his roles. He's about to get another one, probably in level 4.
macho psychopaths. Bill the Butcher perfectly embodies this tier. Classified as secondary macho, Bill controls the 5 points through sheer physical dominance and territorial brutality. He's intelligent enough to understand power dynamics, but his methods are medieval, ranging from public executions, gladiatorial combat, and donning visible scars as calling cards. Nicky Santoro from Casino is another primary macho psychopath in pure form. Joe Pesci's character operates through violence, intimidation, and terror. He demonstrates zero capacity for behavioral modulation and operates identically whether context requires subtlety or permits brutality, which reveals a pathological inability to calibrate force to strategic necessity. Where De Niro's character Ace maintains sophisticated false self integrating into legitimate business, Nicky cannot suppress core psychopathy even when he's at risk. What separates this level from others is that a macho psychopath is a subtype of antisocial personality disorder characterized by overt aggression, impulsivity, and a need for dominance, often using physical threats to intimidate. And before we move on, it would be a dream if you could help this channel reach 3,000 subscribers, and it's completely free.
Let's just take a look. I said 10,000, by the way. Just keep moving there.
Thank you.
Level 4, the God Complex.
This tier represents psychopaths who've developed a grandiose delusional framework around their actions. A fusion of narcissistic personality traits with psychopathic core features. Clinical literature describes these individuals as high scoring on factor 1 traits such as interpersonal and affective combined with pathological grandiosity. Unlike level 3 macho psychopaths who use force pragmatically, God complex psychopaths have ideological conviction that they're entitled to determine who lives or dies or deserves wealth or poverty.
So pretty much anybody that starts a cult, they're right about here. Okay, I see.
Characters such as Dr. Jed Hill from Malice, Alonzo Harris from Training Day.
Can we clap it up for one of the greatest movies of all time? This is a great fucking movie. And no one can tell me otherwise. This is a great movie. I mean, fantastic. You can almost say it's perfect.
James Bond from 007 and Gordon Gekko from Wall Street embody this level. Using Dr. Jed Hill as an example, he is the purest cinematic representation of this complex. During a deposition, he delivers the infamous monologue, "You ask me if I have a God complex. I am God. I decide who lives and who dies." I'm surprised I haven't seen a TikTok edit of that yet. James Bond represents another institutional God complex. He seduces, manipulates, and kills without remorse because the state has told him he's above conventional law. Unlike criminal psychopaths who fear consequences, Bond operates in a moral framework where his actions are pre-justified by national security. Finally, Gordon Gekko from Wall Street, one of my all-time favourite movie characters. Even The Paper by Lightstead calls him, and I quote, "probably one of the most interesting, manipulative, psychopathic fictional characters to date." Classified as primary manipulative, Gekko doesn't have to physically...
I feel like it's a little bit of glaze though.
Glaze me!
Just a little bit though, just a little.
threaten anyone.
Not too much.
Greed is good becomes his philosophy, and he uses it to seduce young broker Bud into insider trading, corporate espionage, and betraying his own father. He studies Bud's ambition, his father issues, his desperate need for validation, then he crafts a persona, the successful father figure Bud wishes he had, and then weaponizes it. The paper highlights how he represents the rise of a successful psychopath, individuals who climb to the top of legitimate industries by exploiting the same traits that would make others criminals.
Level 5, the manipulator.
Okay, so this is what every single... This is gonna sound bad regardless, but this is what every single woman on TikTok thinks their ex was for some odd reason. We all know his ass is not that smart. He will never be this smart. Never in his life. But I guess we'll believe it because you said so. Right.
According to the Hervey classification, manipulative psychopaths score high on interpersonal and affective factors while scoring lower on the lifestyle behavioural factor. This means they have the charm, the superficiality, and the emotional coldness of psychopathy, leaning less on confrontational violence. In a way, this makes them more dangerous and parasitic, which is why I placed them in level 5.
Yeah,
Characters such as Aaron Stampler from Primal Fear, Esther from Orphan, Amy Dunn from Gone Girl, and Kevin from We Need to Talk About Kevin define this level. Kevin is more of an outlier on this level despite demonstrating textbook primary psychopathy. He also exhibits congenital etiology. This is defined as abnormalities, in this case psychopathy, present at birth resulting from genetic factors. Therefore, you could make a case for him being higher, but I will touch on later why I placed him in this level. Anyway, the film explicitly explores nature versus nurture and concludes he was born this way with no environmental trauma explaining his presentation. He scores high across all the Hervey factors. The first is interpersonal. This is demonstrated for his dual false selves, presented as a perfect son to his father, while systematically tormenting his mother through sophisticated manipulation from early childhood. The second is affective, through his complete empathy deficit observable from infancy as he unalives his sister's guinea pig, his father and sister, then executes a school massacre with zero emotional response or remorse. However, what prevents
What am I listening to right now?
Kevin from reaching the absolute pinnacle?
What am I listening to? By the way, I just want to let you know, a couple minutes ago, it was raining. There is sun coming through this window. I got a lot to deal with it in this. I got a lot to deal with.
Is that the film still plays on certain stereotypes and cultural misnomers about psychopaths and teenage school shooters, adding theatrical elements that slightly compromise pure clinical accuracy. But now, when we raise the bar of psychopathy across each factor higher, we get
Level 6, the puppet master.
this is
So these are the dudes that are actually, they're not manipulator of one or a couple people, they're manipulators of a lot of people. They run a lot of things.
where psychopathy transcends individual manipulation and enters the realm of systemic control. They've climbed legitimate power structures, accumulated resources and loyalties, and positioned themselves where their decisions can affect thousands of lives. Lou Bloom is the perfect embodiment of this level. He manipulates everyone around him and positions himself as a pure parasitic corporate psychopath operating within capitalism's incentive structures. He displays high Factor 1 traits such as self-taught corporate vernacular, superficial charm mimicking business culture, and zero genuine affection beneath rehearsed speech patterns. According to Babiak's research, he demonstrates corporate psychopathic methodology. For example, he views employees as disposable assets.
You wanna know how I know he got something wrong with him? Did y'all just see how he was looking, bro? When he walked in that building, look at his eyes, bro. Look at his eyes.
Psychopathic methodology.
He ain't blink once. Now, granted, that was like 3 seconds, but I don't give a fuck. He didn't blink for like, he came in the room like this. And y'all don't see no problem with that? Stop, bro, stop.
Example,
Stop.
he views employees as disposable assets, as evident when he lets Rick die to capture better footage and frames it as a business decision. Amon Goethe from Schindler's List is another example that shows how psychopathy can weaponize institutional power. Classified as primary classic idiopathic, Goethe is an SS officer who runs a particular type of camp. His high Factor 1 traits are shown when he maintains positional professionalism while simultaneously embezzling Reich resources and operating slave labor. His relationship with Helen, a Jewish maid, reveals classic psychopathic ambivalence.
So he probably doesn't like cry her nipples out. I know this is real, but holy shit.
This is evident from his attraction to her while beating her because he's neurologically incapable of processing emotional connection as anything but dominant submission dynamic. Finally, Alex Delage from A Clockwork Orange sits on this level as a primary classic idiopathic psychopath. Alex achieves systemic influence through organizational leadership and ideological propagation. Alex demonstrates high interpersonal factor through charismatic leadership that maintains gang loyalty despite escalating brutality. The Ludovico technique scene reveals his psychopathy is so deeply embedded that behavioral conditioning fails. What elevates him to level 6 is that he doesn't operate alone. He's created a microsystem where psychopathic values become group culture, like the real case of Charles Manson. But now, let's move on to the cinematic peak of psychopathic portrayals with
Level 7, GOAT.
Yes. I want to hear more about bro on the right.
We've reached the pinnacle of a clinically perfect depiction of a psychopath. According to the Hervé classification system, the combination of primary with classic and idiopathic psychopaths have the highest overall PCLR scores and score high on all 3 factors. These are primary psychopaths who are born, not made. There's no childhood trauma to explain them and no environmental factors to blame.
So this is where we're at a point where literally nothing about them makes sense on who they are. They just are. So they're a calamity. They just happen in the world. That's it. One day they're acting normal, and then next thing you know, they're like, you know what? I don't want to be normal, and they just act on it, and now they're not normal anymore, and they never will be. Okay, I guess.
What elevates this level and separates them from the others is the combination of clinical accuracy, as I just mentioned, but equally as important, the performance and portrayal from the actor. They portray characteristics that forensic psychiatrists watch and recognize as matching real-world psychopaths they've evaluated in prisons and hospitals. Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men is what the paper calls a well-designed prototypical idiopathic primary psychopath. What this means is that unlike god-complex psychopaths who construct ideological frameworks, Chigurh offers no philosophy or superiority complex. There simply is nothing about him, from his background to his facial expressions. The paper compares Chigurh to Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman, a real-life contract killer who also killed without emotion. The other character that makes this level is Henry from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, who is another clinically perfect depiction of a psychopath. Based on real serial killer Henry Lee Lucas, the film strips away every Hollywood convention. The paper highlights that the accuracies are depicted through his lack of insight, a powerful lack of empathy, emotional poverty, and well-illustrated failure to plan ahead.
Alright, I really kind of want to know what the hell that whole relationship I just saw was. Because that dude, that's throwing me off. I don't know what's happening. It's throwing me off. Someone explain. Someone comment, please, somebody.
That last part is crucial. When watching the movie, we see Henry is disorganized, impulsive, and leaves bodies in plain sight. Despite this, he doesn't get caught because investigators are looking for motive, pattern, and meaning, and Henry has none of those. Clinical accuracy alone doesn't create unforgettable cinema. That requires actors who can embody that void. Javier Bardem and Michael Rooker deliver performances where the absence of emotion is clear and the empty stare communicates more than any dialogue could ever do. And remember, the team behind the paper watched 400 films and identified only a handful that achieved this balance. Level 7 is where psychiatry meets art, where diagnosis meets performance, and in my opinion, it's much more terrifying than any Hollywood caricature could ever be. And if you want to see the 7 levels,
So I'm guessing ass and great, I'm guessing. I don't know. I literally don't know. But I feel like, hold on. I feel like at some point, we're going to get to a point where like, we're never going to hit an end when it comes to portraying, mental illness on a screen. It's just, the mental illness is just going to get bigger, badder, harder, and more intricate, and then people in real life are gonna be like, you know what, I can imitate that, and they're gonna imitate it, and it's just gonna go on forever and ever. That's why I feel like shows, movies, anything that portrays real life will always go on, because we will always evolve. We literally can't catch up unless AI does whatever it's supposed to do. If it does, we're fucked. Anyway, though, that's another video unpack. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a little echoey in here. I know. I don't have enough things hung up. We haven't had our house party. I do have a Wii though, so I do have a Wii. So we have the minimum. We have the minimum in the house. Anyway, though, I'm gonna see y'all on my page. Wow, I haven't done an outro forever. Usually I just kind of stare at you until the video ends, but I don't really feel like doing that today. Yeah. I'm still probably gonna stare at you though.
Look, the show's over, fuck it, let's call some hoes over. I leave a bitch the type that won't give her no closure. What it is, you acting like that, I don't know you. You acting like that, I don't know you. The show's over, fuck it, let's call some hoes over. Leave a bitch, you know, the type that won't give her no closure. What it is, you acting like